Gary Neville is red. Manchester United looking to employ the outspoken ex-Manchester United star. We'll tell you more about that. More from last night's news of the full ratification being confirmed by INEOS and Manchester United. Boardroom shake-ups and a very interesting look at Manchester United's midfield conundrum. Looking ahead now, so Jim Ratcliffe looking to make moves very, very quickly. In his statement last night, he was talking about accelerating Manchester United now and all of what INEOS's plans are. The transfer market is going to start hotting up. Well, the rumour will anyway. A little interesting story regarding Manchester United's midfield. Stay tuned. We are going to be talking about that as well. Welcome along, everybody. This is a live show. Make sure you get your comments in the live section if you are joining us right now. Make sure you hit that like button and do subscribe. That way you can join in with the chat. And if you are watching the video later on, make sure you do drop your comments in and give us your thoughts on everything that we're talking about here right now. Specifically, Mr. Gary Neville. You can see there in the bottom of the screen the tweets that has come out from Matt Lawton, chief sports correspondent of The Times. Now, he is saying that Manchester United have approached one certain Mr. Gary Neville to join INEOS and join part of Manchester United's team in redeveloping Old Trafford and the surrounding area around Old Trafford. That is the role. That's what they have been talking about. He's had many meetings with Colette Roach at Manchester United about the role, and it is in discussion. That's come out today, and what this means is, I think what they're trying to do here in INEOS is he's trying to get the right people on board that are going to send the right message. Gary Neville is seen in some quarters as a voice for the fan base. Being a Manchester United supporter, playing for him all his career, he's been very outspoken about the Glazers and hasn't been too polite about the Glazers. Now, what does that tell you straight away? If Manchester United are approaching someone who has done nothing but slag off the way that the football club has been run, pretty much like a supporter would, it just goes to show you how much is about to change at Manchester United, doesn't it? Little would happen like that. Well, it was just the Glazers. This now with INEOS in charge of Manchester United and the moves that they're making, it's sending different signals across everywhere. Like last night we was talking like, right, okay, now we got to start seeing the walking. It's all done, dusted. We know what's happening. We know the part of the deal. We know how much he's got and how much power he's got. So now let's see in the actions. And the first one, straight away, we hear news. And I said last night, it's like we'll start hearing news now about what has been going on and what conversations have been had. They'll be allowed to leak certain bits of news and conversations and approaches for certain people. And there's a load that have come out this morning. I mean, straight away, quickly on the boardroom shake-up. Now, INEOS have got a couple of new members on the board. John Rees, co-founder of INEOS, and Rob Nevin, chairman of INEOS Sports, are confirmed as members of the board of directors at Manchester United. Richard Arnold left the board last week. That's from Martin Ziegler. So that's all confirmed now. So the people that they can move around into position that are not on gardening leave or still aren't allowed to do any work for Manchester United, then people are all in. They're all in situ, and work can start in earnest. Work can really get down to what's needed now. And when you look at it now, you go, Gary Neville approach. What does that mean now? Why is Gary Neville coming? I can see some of you in the chat there talking about what's Gary Neville going to do. Well, Gary Neville has been, like we said, very vocal regarding Manchester United, particularly in the infrastructure of the football club. Now, transfer market, we all know the ins and outs of a transfer market and what goes wrong and what goes right. Manchester United predominantly getting it wrong over the last few years. That's been the way for Manchester United under the Glazers. Failure after failure after failure. Some good ones, but in terms of the infrastructure, that's where INEOS can fully invest any amount of money they want into the football club without worrying about the financial fair play regulations and being hampered by them. So when you look at Old Trafford and what's needed, you look at the training ground. I think Gary Neville, because he owns a lot of property in Manchester, he is well in with the council. He is developing skyscrapers himself in Manchester city centre. He owns a lot of property. He is very, very wealthy, Gary Neville, and very well connected in this area. I think the big thing with Gary Neville being involved in this is if United have approached him, it's for his outlook on how Manchester United need to look outside of the stadium more than the stadium, I would think. The development around the stadium, I think, is probably just as important as the stadium itself, whether it's a new one or redeveloping Old Trafford. I can't actually remember. I mean, I don't know if you guys actually know, but what Gary Neville's verdict is on actually redeveloping Old Trafford. I can't remember the conversation I hear him speak about it. I know he has done, but I can't remember what his answer was in terms of whether he would have a new stadium or whether he would go for a redevelopment and complete restructure of Old Trafford. Just remind me in the comment section if you get a chance, guys. I'm not sure what he actually said on this one, but with the surrounding area of Old Trafford, this is where Manchester United now are going to be able to benefit more. I think Gary Neville's knowledge of that and development side of things, I think that's key. And he will know what is best for the fans in terms of a match day experience. I think that is important now for Manchester United to get right. Either way, whether it's a new stadium or a redevelopment of Old Trafford, I feel like the input of Neville will help us get it right in terms of the surrounding area around Old Trafford. I mean, will there be a 5-star hotel? There's been reports of that. Obviously, bandstands, bars, restaurants, experiences. There is loads of different options for Manchester United open there. But obviously, this will be determined as to where it goes and if there is a new stadium. Because you can, in fact, build now on the land that United have got. If you wanted to build like a let's say, for instance, a new shopping centre or a hotel or anything like that. Let's not forget, Gary Neville actually has got and owns Hotel Football, which is smack bang right outside of Old Trafford. I mean, though United weren't happy about that when it happened. So again, very interesting and a complete 180 in United's approach to a lot of things here. In bringing on someone like Gary Neville, I think we are looking in the right direction, but it's a completely different approach to what was had before. I think it's interesting that I think he would be all in on this. I think it would be something that he'd want to get his teeth into. We've not heard anything else yet. All we know is from the reports that United have approached Gary Neville, and there has been several conversations with Manchester United on this role and what will be involved in the role. I think in time we're going to find out. But again, just because everything is ratified now, we're hearing more about this sort of thing. And I think everyone's question was, it's like, soon as ratification came through, what would happen next? What would we find out about next? What information would we get? I think we're going to just get that now over the next few weeks. I feel like from what I'm getting, like the top priority right now, obviously we cannot do anything with players, but the top priority is infrastructure. Like, it's clear, isn't it? It's like Old Trafford, what are we doing? What are the plans? The fans want to know, and I think they're moving quickly to try and figure out the best way. Will INEOS now approach the fans because they now have dual ownership of Manchester United? Will they start now approaching the fans in a way? Will we hear from the club even more now? Will there be a different approach to the fans, like myself? All you usually get from Manchester United is just confirming that you're actually going to a game. You'll get a text message saying, please make sure that if you are planning on not turning up for the game, that you donate your ticket so someone else can sit in it. Just basically messages from the club saying, I'm making sure that the stadium is full and they can get as much money on a match day as possible. That's all we really get. We get the odd email coming through. We had one the other week regarding the season ticket prices. Now, will that change? Will we start getting a bit more from the football club now INEOS are in charge? I think this is what we're all going to be looking out for, and to see how their approach to the fans changes. I think they do need to speak to the fans. I think we do need to have a vote on what happens with the stadium. I don't know necessarily how they're going to approach it in terms of what type of fan they look at first. Is it going to be one of the match-going fans? Is it going to be worldwide? Is it going to be everyone has a say on what's happening with Manchester United? You just don't know, do you? You don't know how this is going to go. I think it's difficult to judge the stadium side of things because not everyone gets a chance to go to the stadium. Not everyone gets a chance to go watch Manchester United. So looking at that, I feel like we're in a position where INEOS are going to have to ultimately make a big decision themselves and force the issue, I feel, rather than ask the fan base, because it's going to be very split. I think there's match day fans now, and you would think that the match day fan would be the one that would go with rebuilding Old Trafford, but there are a lot of match day fans that want a new stadium as well. I think in terms of Gary Neville coming in, I don't know how he's going to be involved in the stadium side of things. I don't think he can. Ultimately, I don't think it's his decision. I think it'll be down to INEOS to just make that one big call. We can get the voice of the fans. We can definitely find out where the majority is going. But at the end of the day, I think it will be INEOS that just say, look, no, we need a new stadium. We need to move forward. This Manchester United now, if we're going to be profitable and take United to the next level, we need to make this decision very, very quickly. Be decisive, set out the plan, and go all in. There have been 2 years of talks about Manchester United Stadium already with the developers. I can't remember the name of them now, actually, but the ones that did Spurs, it's a catchy name. I can't remember what it was. It's the ones who redid all of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So the best of the best are in charge of actually looking into redeveloping Old Trafford or building a new stadium. So you know that that's been going on. Them talks have been happening for 2 years. So INEOS have just come into that and are probably catching up with everything that's been said already. Then they'll put their input in. They're bringing in the people that they want now to actually get involved in this as well. And I think decisions will come quite sharpish and quickly with INEOS. I think we're going to find out, I would think, definitely by the end of the season, what's happening with the stadium. I think that's important because it's like everything sort of new, and the start for INEOS really starts in the summer because that's when their new team come in, the staff like Barada, hopefully Ashworth as well, and the fresh start really kicks in the summer. And I do believe that we will find out about the stadium. I think we need to find out about the stadium before the end of this season anyway, definitely. You know what I mean? It's like Old Trafford, if we are going to redevelop it, a lot of people are going to lose their season ticket. It's as simple as that. The people don't think about this. I think Gary Neville coming on board is like being a supporter, that side of things. I think Must will be consulted with this as well. There is going to be an awful lot of communication between fan groups, Gary Neville, INEOS. They're going to try and move quickly, trying to get or sense the vibe of what the United fan base is at. But the biggest thing, I haven't said it on any of my Old Trafford development videos either, or the new stadium ones. The biggest issue that they've got is if they go all in on redeveloping Old Trafford, which a lot of people want, a lot of regular season ticket holders will not be able to go and watch Manchester United because they cannot build that stadium without taking some of the attendance away of the stadium. Where does the TV gantry go if they redevelop the South Stand? Can they get something in place quickly? Can they build on top of the South Stand while it's being developed? That might save a bit of time and a bit of headache. But they're going to lose all of the executive section of the South Stand. That's where all of the dignitaries sit. There's no room for them anywhere else in the stadium, really, if they start taking the South Stand down and can't develop it out of season. It's where all of the press boxes. There's nowhere else in the stadium for the press box right now. They'd have to build a new one of them. There are massive, massive complications for redeveloping Old Trafford. The South Stand would have to be done literally in a pre-season and most of it completed. It's virtually impossible to get Old Trafford done without upsetting people and people missing out on the match day. The regular season ticket holders will end up losing out. It's how they get compensated. What happens to them going forward? Another discussion. And bringing in the right sort of team and the right people to discuss this, I think, is massively important for INEOS. And hopefully these conversations with Gary Neville, they have spoken to Must as well. I think that coming together, INEOS, developers, it needs to be one big meeting of everyone trying to balance it. It's like, it's not so much because everyone's got a right and everyone's got a say on Old Trafford. If you're a supporter, then you deserve your position in that meeting. That's how I see it. So you really have to trust in the likes of Must, who are the go-tos for the football club in terms of the fans' voice. You are going to have to really trust in what they say. So expect something to come out from Must, I would probably say, in the next few weeks as well regarding developments and stadiums. So all of this, plus all of the other conversations that we've had, the government funding side of things from the levelling scheme, can part of it be paid for by the taxpayer? That's going to really, really piss people off, that, especially not United fans anyway. But The naming rights, like we discussed the other day as well, of the new stadium, if it is a new stadium, how many seater is it? Is it going to have a roof on it, retractable pitch? All of this is now top priority, I feel, for INEOS. This is why they are bringing in the team to run Manchester United on the football side of things. The infrastructure is going to take a lot longer, and I feel like they want to fully invest all of their time into getting that right more than anything else. That's why we're going to have such a big team. They're going to slim out the staff that are not needed and put people in that are decision makers and people of power who have actually got influence and can come to a decision. I'm not afraid of making a big decision, because we are going to upset an awful lot of United fans with certain decisions that are coming up over the next few months. So for me, again, I'll say the priority for him now, and the reason why Gary Neville is being approached by the football club to come in, is full-on infrastructure. He'll have his say, probably. He'll have his say on the training ground. That's a simple one. It needs to be the best that there is. If it's a new stadium, it needs to be the best that it is. It needs to have more seats than Wembley, better facilities and better entertainment and match day experience than any other stadium on the planet. Otherwise, it's pointless doing it. You can't be Manchester United and make these bold statements and then just go half-hearted into something like this. It needs to be big, it needs to be powerful, and I feel like that's why they are bringing this team together. Let me know what you think on this, guys. Get your comments in now. Please give the video a like. We're just creeping up to the 100 mark. Let me know what you think about the stadium. Gary Neville coming on board. What are your thoughts about that? Can you see that as a positive? Andrew Short. Things are looking good for the fans. Improved facilities and a proper way to run the club. This is what we all expected from INEOS. Dobby says, I lost all respect for Gary Neville when he said he wouldn't call for Ole to be sacked. The club is bigger than any player or manager, and he couldn't put the club first and call for Ole's sacking. Are you willing to forgive? Let bygones be bygones, Dobby Doe? If he brings in his knowledge and his know-how in developing around Old Trafford and helps United move forward, are you okay with that? What else have we got here? Some people being naughty in the chat as well. Would it be New Trafford made a new storage containers on the cheap? There's nothing going to be on the cheap with INEOS, I don't think. It's like we may be scrimping and scraping when it comes to transfers and making sure that the structure of players and ins and outs are going to be run that way. But when it comes to actual facilities for Manchester United, I think that's a different ballgame. I think you're going to get full interest from INEOS and the best that there is. Otherwise, it doesn't add up with the big bold statements that they've been making. So for me, I will go, how much are they willing to spend? That's the problem, isn't it? It's like government funding for a stadium. I don't know enough. It's not my area of expertise. I don't know. I know that they want to change the training ground. Can Carrington be dug up and redeveloped, expanded? There is space there. They can make it happen. Can they make it the best training facilities in the Premier League? They've got to go some to beat a lot of football clubs now. We are falling behind on that side. Old Trafford, you know my problem with it. I probably, and people will be surprised, I'm sort of like leaning towards a new stadium because it's just not comfortable for me in Old Trafford. It's like I'm squashed, I'm penned in, it's dangerous. I know people, even like you ask Alien Tenor what he thinks of Old Trafford right now and the facilities for disabled people. The man's still going through a claim with a football club right now after falling down the stairs at Old Trafford. There's people actually part of this community on FUTV that would say Manchester United need a new stadium. It's just, if, like I said it before, if someone can convince me Old Trafford can be done, then I'm all ears, but no one's told me how. And there needs to be a more comfortable match day experience. I mean, it needs to cater for every type of fan. The disabled section, they've done a lot more with that right now, but you're limited to the amount of fans that can get in at that part of the ground, which is only on the lower tiers. There's nothing further up. The elevators are garbage at Old Trafford. There's a lot of improvements needed. And in the end, you just go, you know what? Is it worth actually just digging everything up to redo it in the same place and try and make something better? Honestly, I don't want Old Trafford to go. I feel like we are going to end up getting a new stadium by the end of it, though. I do. Because I think revenues are important. I think Manchester United can't afford to be losing out on any match day revenues. There's no stadiums we can share. We're definitely not going to the Etihad. That won't happen. I don't know how far we're willing to travel to stadium share. Where's the next biggest stadium? I don't honestly. Where is the next biggest stadium? You're dropping down to what, the Midlands, Newcastle. It's just not. It's not feasible. I don't think it really isn't. So I look at it and I go, I just don't see anything. I can't see past a new stadium right now. Someone needs to convince me. I understand why. I understand all of the nostalgia and the history and the memories and everything like that, but no. Realistically, the stadium I think is the easier option. I think that's where they're going to go. That's where they're going to go. A City season ticket costs 20 quid. No, it doesn't. Was it, Wayne? City pay supporters to go to games. Never seen their stadium full, never. 100 likes in the bag. Cheers for that, guys. Make sure you do keep hitting that like button. Obviously, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well so you can get involved in the chat while we're live as well. And also, guys, download our SofaScore partner app. The QR code is right there in the bottom right-hand corner. If you can't scan that QR code, so you're watching on your phone already, then drop down in the description. The link is there right at the top. SofaScore, the best sporting football app out there. All your score updates, everything going on with every player, including ratings and player stats, goal scorers, everything off the field as well, like transfers, injury updates for club and country, and all sorts of sports. All the inside info and the quickest. Get it downloaded, it's free. You might as well. Thanks, everybody. It all helps with the channel as well. Thank you to SofaScore for backing the channel and supporting us on our journey to 40,000, which means you have to obviously subscribe to get to 40,000. General Foodie says, the Stretford end is the most comfortable because everyone stands during the game. Sitting during the game at Old Trafford is terrible. See, that's the problem. The higher it goes up, the less safe standing sort of sections you're going to get. It would need to be a redevelopment of a stand, pretty much like what Spurs did in creating that one big stand behind the goal. I think that holds 17,000 or something like that. Now, the North Stand at Manchester United holds 25,000. I think that's right. That's the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, but it goes right up tier on tier. It's very steep. You feel quite unsafe when you're celebrating a goal in that stand. You do. Say, for instance, like the scenes when we beat City last season. Like, oh my God, that was scary because it went off when Rashford scored the winner. Like me, Alfie, James was with me that day. Like we were like it was limbs. It was, and the higher up you are, the more scarier it is. It's crammed. I would say, the most crammed stadium you can go to in the Premier League is Old Trafford in terms of how many seats are squashed in together. It is tight, penned in, with little room to manoeuvre without cracking someone on the head with your elbow when you jump up to celebrate. Done that a few times. Voice of experience right now. The disabled platforms are at the back, top of the Stretford end and scoreboard end. Yeah, again, he's right. Mike Ferguson did do a new one for some disabled sections. They had to do that for health and safety rules, and we lost a bit of the seating for that as well. There were a lot of complaints by certain fans who were losing their season tickets because we were having to move with the times and actually make more room for disabled people at Old Trafford. It's fair, and I think it has to be. Everyone deserves to watch Manchester United. You need a better opportunity for the not so lucky as well. And do you know what? There is so much more that they can do with it, but they just won't do it, I don't think, because it's just going to take more and more attendance away, and they can get more money off people. That's how Manchester United has been run. The new stadium would cover all angles. I just find it just looks like a ball ache trying to redevelop Old Trafford in every single way. Just like I said there, the right disabled sections, the press box, the dignitary area, the executive section in the south stand, the commentary gantry, everything. like I said in the videos about the redevelopment of Old Trafford, you look at the historical side of the stadium, the south stand, it's like the Munich Tunnel. What happens to that? Everything about United is on that side of the stadium, and it'll be very, very difficult to manoeuvre that within a season. How quickly they can make it, or if they can move, say for instance, the media around, or where all of the major executive seats are, where are they going to go? It's just too much. Gary Neville's got a lot of input, and I think he will have some good ideas to bring to the table. I think it'll be mainly for outside, though, in the surrounding area. It has to be a new stadium, Adam, says Graham. Gary says, what do you make of a new stadium to take some of the old features into the new one? If it's getting built next door, what's the problem? A lot of people say that as well. It's like it's only on the doorstep. It's like literally a stone's throw. That's all it is. But still people don't like it. It's just like being in Old Trafford and seeing it demolished. The legacy and everything just going down in rubble. It's too much for a lot of people to handle. I don't see how you get away from building a new stadium. The time and the cost to convert Old Trafford, I think, would be over the top. Yeah, it is. It is over the top. It's just going to cost us an absolute bomb. Top Cat, Gary Neville, the footballer, is a legend. Gary Neville, the businessman, is good if we go off his hotels and Salford FC, etc. But I don't think his input is needed. I think they've seen something in Gary Neville to ask him. I think they've definitely seen something. Diehard United fan, hello back to you as well, my friend. But and you see, got Wiggy at the bottom there who says much rather renovation personally. You're stuck, aren't you? You're stuck as a United fan. You just don't know which way to go. Someone needs to make a decision for us, I feel, in the end. I think that's what will happen. I do. On to other news. We talked about what happened last night, the board shake-up. Gary Neville coming into Manchester United to look at building Old Trafford and the surrounding areas. There's the top headline. But there is also news regarding Manchester United's transfer window and everything going on. Midfield area is what I wanted to talk about, actually, because there is some news regarding Elise attracting attention from Juve as well, guys. So I feel like the transfer window is now hotting up. March in a couple of weeks, and it's getting ever closer. So it's like, what work are Manchester United doing? We spoke yesterday regarding Murto being in charge with Ten Hag still for this summer. They're going to carry on with the original plans. It's a bit of a concern if it is them. Obviously, INEOS are in now, and it probably won't be a scattergun, yes, but still, we can't be giving too much power to Murto. I said that yesterday, but a target that we know we're in for, Elise, he's attracting attention. Matthias Soil from Juventus has been offered as a mate weight to Crystal Palace. Teams are starting to move on players early now, and I think this is where United need to be ready and ahead of everybody else. Manchester United are also interested in Atalanta midfielder Ederson. He's been talking as well. He's having a decent season at Atalanta in Serie A. Obviously, links there with Rasmus Højlund, and if everyone comes out of Atalanta the way that Rasmus did, then I think we'd all be happy, wouldn't we? But yes, he's having a decent season. Assists and 6 goals so far in 30 games. He's been talking though and saying, look, he's flattered by the interest from Manchester United, if there is interest there, but also he has learned, he said, to actually just leave these conversations to his agent and let him come to him with all of the information and news and updates on everything, and he just takes it from there, which is fair enough. You can understand that. Young Brazilian player. Manchester United being put off by the big names, apparently, like the big high prices of the Frankie de Jongs. They're not going to happen at United. The 70-80 million pound targets, they're sort of dead in the water now. You're not going to get them types of players. I think Manchester United's market between 30 and 50 million. That's what's been reported. Ederson, a player there that falls into that category at 40 million. We're supposed to be reportedly interested in him. And we're only looking at him mainly because of other news coming out. And that was that Manchester United were approached last summer by a Saudi Arabian team for Casemiro. Now, Manchester United reportedly were offered the same figure that we paid for Casemiro to Real Madrid. A retirement in Arabia is on his mind, and there's interest in the player. It remains valid ahead of the summer. So there is Saudi Arabian interest, the Saudi Arabia Pro League interest in Casemiro, and I think we need to watch that one carefully. Casemiro is one of them players that will definitely cut the wage bill, the highest earner at the football club. Now I think he's on 360 grand a week. That 5-year deal is definitely weighing heavy on the finances of Manchester United right now. We'll say that. I personally would like to see other players go before Casemiro. I don't think we can replace someone like Casemiro straight out. I think it would have to be a proper replacement for him. Would a prospect work? We need the experience, I feel, in that midfield. I think he's too experienced to let go, unless you've got someone coming in mid to late 20s, I would have thought. A decent player that's ready to come straight into the first team. They're hard to find now. And when you're thinking of midfielders, central midfielders, the more you look at it, the more you actually think, you know what, I think we have to make Casemiro work. We're going to have to keep him until we get a little bit more experienced in some of our younger midfielders. I just don't think the right midfielder is out there to come in for Casemiro right now at the right price. Obviously, there are players there that can come in and do that job, but at the right price, no, I don't think so. I'm struggling at that point. I don't think there is. I really don't think there is anyone out there right now that I can think of that's going to come in. I mean, guys, you get some comments in the live section. Let me know, is there a midfielder out there that's perfect to come in for Casemiro? Would it be like a Paulinho from Fulham? That's the player that jumps out. There's a lot of interest, and I think Fulham are going to sell this summer. They got him tied down to that contract, but I think that was purely just to safeguard their investment and get as much money as possible for him in the summer. So I think Paulinho definitely fits the bill. We're looking to bring in young players likes of Dangor and Mainu and people like that. Only works when you've got experience next to him. It's too much to expect a young player like that just to hit the ground running in the Premier League and make things happen. It's virtually impossible. So there has to be a significant signing if Casemiro is let go. I think we would what would we get for Casemiro? What is he worth now? 2 years on from when we bought him in. I think what is he now, 31? Can still do a job, as we can see. I think he's been playing brilliantly since he's come back into the team, but I don't think United can get rid of him. I mean, people saying Kimmich there. Kimmich is a shout. Another player there, controlling midfielder. Anybody want McTominay to replace Casemiro? Robert says, yes, come on United. We are 10 years behind City and 8 years behind Liverpool and Arsenal. Make it work. That's what Sir Jim is going to do. 100% fully committed. Accelerator down. We've just been talking about bringing on Gary Neville on board. If you are just joining the show, he has been approached by Manchester United over the redevelopment of Old Trafford and the surrounding area. The boardroom shake-up has gone ahead now. We've got 2 new board members from INEOS on the board at Manchester United. And we're starting to hear a lot of conversations that was had while this sort of audit period was going on. Well, we knew after the announcement from the club on Christmas Eve that INEOS were coming in. While the ratification's been going on, we're now hearing about some of the conversations that were going on at that stage, i.e. why Manchester United are talking to Gary Neville, what's going to happen with Old Trafford, which way are INEOS pushing towards. I said personally that it's probably going to be the new stadium, but you have your opinions on it. Get your comments in. Moving on to the second part of the show and where we're up to now, we're just talking about Casemiro and the midfield options for Manchester United. If United were to sell Casemiro, there apparently are offers on the table, according to reports, that many Saudi Pro League teams are very interested in Casemiro and would offer decent money for him. And he's not put off by the thought of retiring in Saudi Arabia. He's obviously got mates there already in the likes of Ronaldo. So yeah, let's watch this space with Casemiro. I think that's an interesting one for the summer. There's a lot, and we've talked about all of the other players that need to go before Casemiro. Me personally, I think he needs to stay because I don't think Manchester United can have that type of summer needed where we are going to get the replacements for big players that are leaving this summer. I think Varane will leave. I think Sancho Greenwood going, possibly Marcus Rashford. We can't afford to lose a Casemiro as well. We would be running very short on experienced players, and I just don't see Manchester United being able to not so much survive, but actually compete without that experience. Yeah, the younger players will take us so far, but there are moments in games, and you can see it, where that experience really counts. The Varane experience of dealing with Luton. He's dealing with constant changes to his centre-back partnerships. It's someone new every single week, and he's adapted and making it work. That experience of player, that's hard to replace. Manchester United, we know, are probably going to need 2 centre-backs in the summer. We need a central midfielder anyway, even with Casemiro, because I think Eriksen will also be let go. And then there's the conversation, as crazy as it sounds, like Bruno Fernandes. Some fans, and a decision on Bruno Fernandes' future is up now. And quite rightly, every single player and their futures need to be looked at Manchester United. No one should be safe at United anymore. It should be a football club that you are scared of underperforming in because you're going to lose your place. If you don't lose your place, someone good is going to come in and take that spot, and then you might not get in, and then you'll be sold. That should be the fear for every single player at Manchester United. That's what it is at the top level. That's what we used to be. You take your opportunities when you come in. Otherwise, your opportunities are elsewhere, and you're loaned out or you're sold, and we move on. It is a different United. It really is. Right now, we need to get back to where we was. UAP Mothership, Top Cat, you are absolutely spot on. 2 potential world-class talents, but they are not getting a chance. They are getting wasted at United at the moment. I'm going to have to find out what Top Cat said in the chat right now. Top Cat, I don't think we need Elise. We've got Ahmad, that's proven at championship level, and Palestre, that's proven to make an impact. Why not give these lads a chance? We just know he's not going to happen under Ten Hag, don't we? We know Ten Hag isn't going to give Palestre a chance. He's had the opportunity to do so, and he's not done. And Ahmad, well, apparently he's had conversations with Ahmad, but nothing's happened. Absolutely nothing has happened with Ahmad. I don't see him ever making an appearance. I don't see where he comes into this team right now. I think he's actually got Anthony ahead of him. So, looking at Ahmad, with Ten Hag in place, no, I don't see it. Mashup says, Casemiro and Kobe are the strongest parts of the team. Losing him would be a disaster and take too much time and money to replace. Other areas need prioritising. The season after, you're probably going to have to start thinking about replacing Casemiro, though, aren't you? That's the reality. You have to start thinking past Casemiro because he's not going to last forever. He's not. We must cash in on Bruno right now. Man United need to sort the wage bill out. It's shocking, said Stephen. Get him with the first comment there. Z says, right now our academy has some brilliant players. Promote them instead of bringing in big fishes from small ponds. Yeah, we can promote them, but like I said, there needs to be a balance to the team. There needs to have that experience there with it as well. Dobby's talking to Graham. Red Zone says, Adam, Neville will have a specific remit. He isn't an architect or structural engineer, so my guess is that it is to do with the image and the look of the interior. I doubt it, mate, because he is big into his property. Red Zone. He's got skyscrapers going on in Manchester City Centre right now. He owns a lot, so he is well down with property and redevelopment side of things, definitely. So I think his experience there. Obviously, he owns hotel football as well. There could be something involved in that. You don't know. Obviously, I think that's an easy in for United. If they want to redevelop something, could hotel football start to become part of Manchester United? There is a lot to think about with Gary Neville and what his influence is. And he, I feel, will be more for the surrounding area. Like I said, obviously because he owns hotel football, but also I think his experience in that area, he knows Manchester well. And I think the club probably look at Gary Neville as like some sort of like fan representation in a way, in a weird way. I don't see it that way, but I'm trying to think why they're bringing him and reasons why they bring Gary Neville in. I've just explained his experience in the property world and development sector, but also he is a massive Manchester United fan and he's been well outspoken. Maybe they've cottoned on to that, and maybe they're trying to bring the right positivity on board for Manchester United. It's hard to judge, and until we hear more, then we're just going to be talking about what might be and reasons why, and us guessing. It is the guessing game right now. I'm just going to check into the news just to see if there is anything else that has come out. Wayne Rooney's talking. There's talent there, but I think there's a mindset that needs to change. I watch some games and I think they're good, but all of a sudden, suddenly, there's a switch and that flips. We know, Wayne, and they can go from very good to very bad instantly. That's Wayne Rooney talking about Manchester United. So Jim Ratcliffe has spoken, saying, "I talk to Sir Alex Ferguson from time to time. He always has a very interesting point of view, and I always listen to him, as you should." Jim Ratcliffe also with some more quotes here. "Only in such an environment can you get the best out of athletes. If we can do that, the results will automatically follow. That's the plan, and I believe in it." That's the whole Sir David Brailsford sort of side of it, I feel, in that quote there. Another one from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. "We need to make sure the right people are in the right jobs." There you go. "Every member of management needs to be world class." There you go again, best in class. "Finally, we need to create a positive, supportive, friendly, quality environment. This culture was lacking before." Going in on the Glazers a little bit there on the old regime. So, if that was lacking before, is that what they're on about in terms of the 250 jobs? Oh, wait a minute, there's more. So Radcliffe, "We need to look at the organisation of the club because currently it isn't correct. Let's take the example of the coach. He must report directly to the general manager. This is no longer possible in a modern organisation." Oh, that is a bit of a brutal one, I feel, because he's basically saying Manchester United for the last 10 years have not been run right. Now, that's quite bold, I feel, especially with him still being in cahoots with, or so much cahoots, but joint owners with the Glazers. It just goes to show like how much power the Glazers are going to have to give up with Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in. He is calling the shots and he's calling people out as well by the sounds of it. So, yeah, I'm all for that. Everything that he said there is bang on the money. The culture, the environment around Old Trafford, the working environment to bring the best out of everyone at the football club, not just the players but the staff as well. Everything Sir Jim Ratcliffe is saying there is bang on. And he's going to have to go some to make sure that he follows through with this. He really is. He's putting his head on the block big time. Because this is not going to be easy. This is not going to be a set in stone, straightforward, put the right people in place and it's all going to go hunky-dory. It's not happening. It's not happening at all. So, yeah, I feel like all of this definitely feeds into the positive mindset for all Man United fans, and we need to look forward to it. And it's something that I think we'll all be watching closely. But, yeah, like we said last night and the day before, it's going to take time and patience. And without it, then it's just not going to work. And you're still going to get the arguments between fans and different quarters with the fan base. It's what it's been like for the last 20 years with United fans. There has been a massive divide in the fan base, and you've just got to look at it and go, how can you change that? You change it by making Man United successful and giving no one anything to complain about. You're putting the best in class and the best operators in place, so you can't complain about that. If things go wrong on the pitch, then they're accountable for it, because they're the ones developing this squad going forward now and trying to get the best out of every single player. So that's what you've got to look at now going forward, making sure that there's nothing left, there's no stone left unturned, and there's no one that's going to get away with anything. Everyone's going to be made accountable. Slimlining positions, so it's one head of this department. That's your fault if that goes wrong. and over there. They know exactly who to go to when things go wrong, rather than going, well, which member of staff could this have been? Pass the buck, pass the buck, pass the buck. That's what it's all about, but that's where it's all about to change as well. That pretty much finishes up the show, guys. We'll be back later on this evening. We are live outside tonight, guys. We was going to do it today. I've just been running around, and there is a mini hurricane going on in Manchester right now. The weather is shocking. So we'll be live outside later on this evening, 6 o'clock tonight, early on, because there is football on. And yeah, make sure you do join us then. Make sure your notifications are on and you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you give a video a like before you leave as well. Thank you for all of your chats, all of your comments, and everyone involved in the show today. Loved having you all in. And again, start of a new era. Again, we say it every single show, but this really is it this time. That's it for now, guys. I'll speak to you all later with more updates on what's going on with United later on this evening. Until then, have a great day.